We're speaking to Madam Tan Lee Bee, who's a sign language interpreter for our national TV network. You know, Miss Tan, or should we call you Lee Bee?
Just call me Libby will do. Don't
Okay,
have to
okay,
call
right.
Madam or Miss. Don't be
Now,
so
Lee Bee,
formal.
you know, next to our Prime Minister, you're like one of the most popular TV personalities
Yes.
here in Malaysia. Especially during the news, right? Now tell us about your background growing up. You grew up in Labis.
Yeah, I grew up in Labis. I was born in Skamat. It's one there's the only hospital we have in Labis. So and I was brought. My hometown is in Labis. So I was brought up in Labis, and actually, what do you know about my background?
You have a big family.
Yes,
10
of course.
siblings.
Those were the day, 11.
11.
Those were the day, according to my mother, there's no contraceptive. So there's no choice. Every time when you're happy, you got to kill the baby. And up to 11, and every time when I go to school, people will ask me, the teacher will ask me, how many in your family? When I want to say 11, but the moment I mention 11, everybody is laughing. Ha 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 ha. Your mom, you macam babi lah. Ramai ni. I say, ayalah, what to do?
Yeah. Now, and one of your sisters is deaf.
That you know about that. Right?
Yeah.
My younger sister is deaf. Actually, she is the youngest, and after me, there's another younger sister, and she is the youngest of all of us.
Right.
You are number?
yeah.
I'm number 9.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm number 9. So our age group is about 4 or 5 years difference. 4 years difference. That's all. And actually, you want to know the reason. Everybody wants to know why I learned sign language.
Yeah.
I have no reason. I have nothing. But I tell you what, there's one thing I always pray, because my parents, they're very sad. I could actually see my mother crying. Even my father is actually a headmaster in the Chinese school. He's actually very sad. I could see his face that he's actually very sad because my sister is deaf. I tell you also, I want to cry now. So every day, I never fail to pray. Chinese, you sit in the joss stick, you start telling, I pray for my sister so that she could hear one day. It never works. Instead, I'm actually come into this line, and I went into this line and actually helped her to communicate. The reason why I want to learn sign language is because my sister created so much of commotion at home. She can even lock herself in a room, and then nobody can communicate with her and ask her why. We can only tell her all those basic things you eat, why you do that, and then you show your anger, and then she show her anger. There's no communication there, And can she? Yes, she even locked herself in the room for 2 days, No food, no water,
Wow.
So when at that time when she was younger, she was okay. As she grew older, she created a lot of problem. So and then I love her very much. Even during those days, when I sent her to school every morning by bicycle, even going up hills, Labis, there's a hill near the railway station. It's so steep, I never allowed her to walk. I will push her up. And every morning I send her to school because I love her so much, So, and what happened was actually, and as she grew up, she goes to a normal school, hearing school, and of course she has some friends. They are just friends, but they cannot communicate lah. Just makan, balik, and then tidur. All the simple sign lah that you can see.
Right.
So and then what happened was actually as she grew bigger, about 10 years old, she started creating a lot of problems. So as she, children when they start growing, 11 years old. So and then I was thinking, at that time one of my elder sister was studying in University Malaya. So she was looking for a school for her because she went to a normal school. My sister says she's deaf, and also she actually, those days in Kampong area, everybody goes to the, the same goes to my mother.
Right.
She goes to the momo. The momo say, hey, your sister, she's not deaf. You clap your hand, she can hear.
Oh,
And then because of the vibration, when you start clapping,
Yeah.
right, of course my sister turned back. Oh yeah, she cannot hear. Only thing her tongue is a bit short.
Right.
So it takes some time, maybe a few more years. So it never works until my sister came back from KL, and then she brought her to University Malaya Hospital, and she was diagnosed deaf at the age of 7.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, only at 7 she was properly diagnosed.
She was
Right.
diagnosed deaf,
Okay.
And at that time, we didn't know there's a school for the deaf in KL, So she went to a normal school, just like any other school, and then she didn't learn anything, just sat down in the school and learned nothing. So until my sister found a school for her at the age about 11. So she got the school for the deaf in Selangor. So she was sent there. So and then when she was there, she didn't want to go. She's so used to the life in kampong,
Right.
her own way, and she doesn't want to go. Every time when she comes back, she'll lock herself. She didn't want to go back. So and then after my Form 5, that is after my SPM, my one of my younger sister that is elder than my younger sister, right? Lily.
The second one.
Then she's
the
Lily.
second youngest one.
I'm Libby. The second youngest is Lily, and the last one is Lacey. So and then she said, "Why don't you?" I say I'm very interested in sign language. So I say, "Why don't you go and learn, pick it up?" And of course, she gave me a book, like, I don't know why she get the book. My sister, deaf sister, gave her a book, so she gave. Why do you? I find it very hard to learn from the book. The sign is entirely wrong.
Oh, really?
You learn. Actually, that's why I always tell people that if you want to learn sign language, learn from the person, not learn from the book. Somehow or other, your movement will be wrong. Your location, your movement, and then your hand shape also will be somehow or other is not accurate.
Oh.
So after my SPM, and then it was in 1980, I followed her to KL.
But what got you interested in sign language in the first
Actually,
place?
in the first place, is because I want to communicate with her.
Okay.
I have my own ambition. As usual, those days you have Hawaii 5-0, Charlie Angel. I want to be a police. How nice I want to be a police. But of course, that was my dream. But actually, when I come to KL, my first thing in my mind is I want to learn sign language so that I can communicate with her to solve the problems that we have at home.
Right.
So that was the reason that I was in. So in between, every day I follow her to school in the morning, 7 o'clock, and I got to wait for her until 1. So, instead of waiting there, I go to the class and see how the teacher was teaching. So there and then I was learning. When I was learning, I didn't actually sign. I'm very weird to the extent when I learn things I don't sign. I will just look and I come back, my sister will teach me how to sign a little bit here and there. So about 3 months later, it just come out, I can sign very well.
Wow.
6 months I was on the stage. But after my result came out, it's somewhere around March, I think, every year, right? So the headmaster asked me, the principal of the school asked me, we are running short of teacher. Would you like to be a teacher in our school for a while? I say, okay lah, after long my sister is here. So no problem. So I joined in. So, and why do I join? This is the second, the main reason is because I want to communicate with my sister. So that was soft. That was soft. After that, I could actually use deaf language to communicate with her. So when I was teaching, when I was there, when I was teaching, I noticed that they can sign. When I was teaching Bahasa Malaysia, they can sign very well. But when you ask them the meaning, the concept of the meaning, they couldn't tell you anything. They can sign. You can ask them anything. Of course, simple things like what is your name, they can answer very well. That is very simple. What I'm talking about kefahaman, comprehension. They couldn't understand. And I really sat down and cried. I really cry. I say I don't know how to teach them. I cannot go further than that. So because they couldn't understand, because I'm a kind of person who is very slow in learning.
Right.
So when I was in school, I actually am now that I know that I'm a ADHD, hyperactive child.
Right, okay.
So I find things that when I want to learn things, it takes a bit slower. So I know that I find that I tell you, I cry. I tell you, I was thinking how to teach. That's how I sat down after school every day. I think of a method and invented my own method to teach the deaf. Of course, my method of teaching the deaf is entirely different and it's very effective. Because I really think...
What did the school think of it, though?
In school, they don't care as long as you teach. Isn't it? The headmaster doesn't care as long as I teach. But one thing I'm very sure is every time, because our school is a private school. Every time where there's a visitor from overseas, my teaching is one of the model. That everybody will come and observe. Even their professor from overseas, dealing with special education, they will come and observe my class. My class is the only class that stay back. Libby, your class got to stay back. I say, why? Because somebody is going to visit you, and then they will come and observe how I was teaching.
Right.
So that's it lah.
Because it works.
But you say you had difficulty in schools, but you didn't have any difficulty picking up sign language?
No, I actually, that's why I say I don't pick up at the beginning. I just watch until my brain is ready. When my brain is ready, my hand comes out like that.
Okay.
So it's just like that.
Right.
So another thing, why is it that you asked me about interpreting, right?
Yeah.
So I actually, when those days we are a teacher, we also interpret. But at that time, at the beginning, I wasn't interpreting. So I was watching other people interpreting. So every time when I was watching the interpreter was doing their job, I would be watching the deaf. So when you look at the deaf, They look so dull.
They're not engaged.
No
That means
expression.
nothing.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They don't actually understand. Maybe probably they don't say don't understand. They don't understand the full, the whole thing. Probably they understand maybe about 30% or 40% or maybe 50%.
Right.
So I noticed that the interpreter is actually using sign exact English. They sign every words. That we call it a code tangan bahasa Malaysia. They sign every words. So I noticed that the deaf was not picking up. So I say no. I think I realized that. Then I realized that no, you got to use their language to make them understand. That's how my interpreting is different from other interpreter. When you ask me why is it that I'm beside PM or I'm doing the news, why am I more popular than other interpreter? Is because I'm using the deaf language, and deaf language involve body language and facial expression about 58%.
Oh.
42% is only the signing. So I might be signing to you. I might not be signing to you with my expression. You can actually understand what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So that's it. Even the deaf, when you're talking to them, their expression is a lot. Sometimes they only sign 2-3 words, but the ayat, the sentence is so long when you're doing the VO.
Right.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So most interpreters would sign every word
Most
that
of
the
them,
person
yes, yeah.
say.
They will sign every words because you see it like me every time when if you watch me, I wouldn't start. If the PM is giving a speech, I will just put down my hand. If for about 2 seconds, then I will start off because I want to listen what is going on. What until the end, only then I start.
So how
So
different
I get
is,
to understand.
How different is the deaf language compared to the English?
Deaf language because
to
the
the
deaf when
English
they watch it, they can. It's your language, ma. Hokkien is Hokkien. I can understand very well. When you speak in Mandarin, my Mandarin is not very good, so you have to, So like
It's like what you said earlier, like you can see that they are Chinese characters, but you don't know how to read it.
yeah.
I
It's just like-
suppose it's like for someone who's doing a radio show and they're just reading every line for line. You're like, wow, I'm not understanding anything. But then if we're just having a conversation's a bit different. You understand a lot more, I suppose.
It's also the same thing when you go to you listen to the newsreader. There are people who are reading.
Yeah.
You only sekilas lalu saja. But you ask what is reading, what is he reading? You can't remember what he's reading. But you hear the voice, you hear the way he's reading. But to understand, there are people who actually menyampaikan, they're actually delivering.
Emote.
So actually you listen, you enjoy, you can actually understand. Like, Harjik's Halan?
Yeah.
Even if I just on my TV, I can actually do my job. I understood what he's reading all about. Because his reading is so clear and he doesn't go so fast. He really delivered. So you understand what from A to Z. Oh, today what is happening? There's a war there, all these things. You see, there are people who read the news, but you don't understand what it's all about.
Which is very important for you because you
Yeah.
want to listen first before you want to sign
Yeah,
for
that's
people.
it.
Right?
Sometimes they might be a sentence as long as a sentence, Like you see, you can say, okay, Prime Minister is flying to America for a meeting today at 3 p.m. So I just say, Prime Minister, I can just Muhyiddin, America meeting finish. akan menghadiri akan ke America, so I just fly lah. He's going to fly to America, isn't it? For them,
Yeah.
So our PM, I don't say PM, I say Muhyiddin is flying to America, meeting there.
All right.
Finish, that's it. So
That's
simple.
all they need to know, right?
Yeah, that's what. That is the. Sometimes when the speaker is going so fast, you only have to get the gist only, the important gist, because you have no time to go for the not
Word
so
by word.
important one.
Yeah.
So because the speaker is going so fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from being a teacher at the deaf school, and you did it for 17 years.
Yeah, you know about it. Yeah.
We've
No,
done our
actu-
research.
Oh, okay. Actually, when I was a teacher, I was the radio interpreter. And also at that time when I was a teacher, morning I was a school teacher, and afternoon I'll be teaching sign language, because at that time my headmaster, Mr. Tanya, he actually wanted to spread spread sign language to the public, to tell the public that sign language is meant for the deaf people,
Right.
So he's encouraging the public to learn sign language. So after school, normally I will go back and take a rest, about 4 p.m. Then I'll be going to the hospital, HKL. At that time it's HKL lah kan. So I'll be teaching the orthopedic, all the students in the orthopedic. And then sometimes at night I'll go to HUKM to teach all the doctors. Then I go to Asunta, I go to Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank.
Right.
Everywhere I go. So that is part of my job. I'm not being paid,
Right.
Nothing, not even a sense, But of course, after the whole thing, they get their certificates. Everybody will be giving. Sometimes one class is about 60 students. You will be getting so many presents. You don't know how to do with the present. At the end of the day, I say, I don't want all this thing. I want money. I don't want all this thing. So at the end of the day, they can actually came and sometimes they come and ask me, what do you want? I say, I think I want money lah, which I can use it, you see.
Yeah.
Because our salary wasn't high.
Yeah.
And then they only pay us the money that we go. If I go by bus, then they claim back by bus fare. Those days we are very naive, very nice people. We do not know how to go by taxi. We try to save the money for the school
Yep.
as well. So even if I go by bus, and then those days we have mini bus, so cheap, only about 50 cents. So I claim back 50 cents, that's all. So
Aiyo.
that's where I do. And then sometimes during the weekends, I'll go to Ipoh to teach sign language to the Lions Club member and all lah. So apart from that, if there's a function or there's a workshop for the deaf, I'll be interpreting during the time when I was a teacher.
I
Right.
see.
So the TV side of things was not the first time that you were interpreting.
TV, it started actually in 85. In 1985, I went and checked. It was, I do not know, but I still remember very clear at that time when I was in SPM Good Morning Malaysia. Good Morning Malaysia was started in 1985.
Okay.
And I and my colleague was chosen. I do the Sunday, she did the Friday. So I remember, I was very clear every time after the Sunday program, I remember Tok Mat, Muhammad Rahmat, was with us having a meeting. And then he will call for a meeting and check how was the morning program, the SPM program, this Good Morning Malaysia program, how the compare was doing and all this. I still remember Tamizi was with me, Rahim Razali and the other Farida Marikan.
Right.
We are all together, but of course my time is only about 5 minutes, like the minutes, the short news.
Right.
It will be read by Harjik or Kamaruddin Ahmad or Farid Ismail. Late Farid Ismail. So they read about 5 minutes. Then I'll be interpreting lah, but no, there's no square. I'll be standing behind the sofa, the compare with this thing. I'll be that's it for 5 minutes. That's all. That was the time I started until 1988. Until I went to America to continue, not really to continue, to go for the course lah, to study, where I was actually fully sponsored by Bhakti.
Wow. Okay.
Fully sponsored by, actually that also because I was interpreting for her speech at one of the program. After that she came, and then all the Bhakti member come and shake hands. They say, oh, you do a good job, all the interpreter, you are the best. So of course lah, you say I'm the best, I say I want to go and study. I say I want to go down and study. He said, okay, you write in. And surprisingly, 1 week later, Dati Mahani, Daim's wife, came to the school, and actually she said to me, she looked for me and she said, I was sent by our young Dipetua, Datin Siti Hasma, to come and tell you that you get ready for your trip to America.
Wow.
So lucky, right?
What an honor.
And she's so beautiful then. So beautiful.
But you deserved it. I mean, you worked very, very hard.
I worked very hard. Actually, seriously, even when I was a teacher, I mathematics, I invented my own method. Because why to teach the deaf to draw one. Of course, at the beginning you teach them how to draw the circle lah. Then you cut off the circle. At the beginning they must know the concept. This is minus, and then this is plus. This is plus. This one are plus, and then you combine together. So eventually I don't use anymore. I use a finger. Plus, minus, all finger. Very easy. But I can't remember very well. But if I practice it, I can still remember.
Okay.
My own method of teaching, and my own method of teaching division and multiplication.
Interesting.
So very interesting. I really do a lot of.
You look at it from their point of view, which is very
yeah.
very
I always you see, that's why they say, when they ask me to evaluate an interpreter, I will look at the deaf. I don't want to look at the interpreter first. I look at them. I look at the interpreter, then I look at the deaf. Then I put myself, if I were them, can I understand them or not? Can I understand the interpreter? If I can only understand 50, that means this is only about 50%. She can only deliver 50%. You look at yourself. When you want to be a teacher, you look yourself as you are a student. If you are deaf, how? So then you can actually create a good method to teach them.
Right.
But I really enjoy my job. Like we talk about teaching, I really love teaching.
Okay. Compared to interpreting?
Of course, I love interpreting. At the end of the day, I became an interpreter, a full-time interpreter. I left the job as a teacher. I became a full-time interpreter. But as far as I'm teaching, I really enjoy very much, and I love my children. And I love to teach all those students who are very naughty. Because that's the challenge that we have.
Yeah.
Those children who got nothing, when you come to the class, they have nothing in the brain. At the end of the day, when you leave the class, they can read and tell you what I tell you. There's no words that you can express, Really, the happiness can actually shows in your tears, I remember my father passed away. I went back to Johor, when I came back, all my students cried and hugged me. And they really cried because and the parents were telling me, you know what, my son didn't want to come to school, until you come. Now every morning he wake up himself. And after school is 1 o'clock, I will not go back because to teach the deaf is not as easy as to teach the normal people. So we take 1.5 years to finish the syllabus for 1 year. So normally I'll teach until 3 o'clock. Until 3 o'clock also they don't want to go back. They want to stay with me. And always tell my children, I say, I'm a teacher, I'm a teacher. I make mistake. You also make mistake, right? So if I make a mistake, tell me. So now they will tell me, Cikgu salah. I say, sorry. Okay, you're right, pandai, So they are happy to tell me that I'm wrong. And I'm happy to tell them they are wrong. Sometimes because why? When I was a school teacher, teacher asked me, faham tak? What do you say?
Faham.
Tapi tak faham betul tak? So I also understand you will do the same thing. So normally when they say, person will say, I understand, you come and explain to me. You come out and explain to me. If you cannot explain, you tell them next time don't say. Normally I'll call them to explain. Everything that I teach, like every words that I'm teaching, So like I'm teaching malu, So when I put a word memalukan, I would write malu, then I put a word memalukan, kemaluan. And then all the sorts of things are all something to do with the words. Even though today I'm teaching only malu, but I will teach extra by adding the penambahan,
Yeah.
So they will understand. In future, when they read the word malukan, that means they know, oh, malukan you, I malukan you. Kat depan orang, I will say, kat depan orang, I say, you were jahat, you were a lot of bad things about you, So I malukan you. I will explain the meaning. So after today, I will explain the meaning. Tomorrow, I will call them to come and explain. Okay, you explain this malu, and you will explain kemaluan. Kemaluan, lah. Kalau you sign dengan orang peka kemaluan, those who are born deaf, kemaluan, they don't understand. They only know malu, Kemaluan is another meaning like your private part, right?
Yeah.
So for the deaf, those who are born normal became deaf, they could understand. For those who are born deaf, unless they're highly educated, they only understood by malu. They do not know the by adding a K and a N and an there is actually another meaning.
Because they have no point of reference, right?
That's it. That's why you have to teach them from young.
Right.
So normally I will call each of them to come out to explain.
It's like a little test for them as well,
and then I'll give them a love there. I buy all the sticker. Then I put a sticker. The one who got more 10 sticker, I'll give them a present. Or give them some money. They will enjoy. They'll enjoy coming to school, and I look forward every day to go to the school.
I can feel your passion for teaching.
Yeah.
So, do you think you are going to continue on interpreting, or do you think you will go back into teaching?
I have been a lot of people has been calling me and asking me to give teaching, but I don't have the time. Sometimes I say 3 days. I ask for 3 days. It's not cheap, my teaching. It's 1 hour, $200. It's a bit expensive, but of course, everybody need money, right? So everybody needs money. So normally what I'll do is I say 3 days. I request for 3 days. You know why? If I go for 1 day, when I come back the next day, he'll forget. No point. You're wasting my energy. You're wasting the child's time also. So I say 3 days. Eventually, I got no time. I go 2 days. After that, I go 1 day. So I tell them, I say, for a while, I stopped it for a while. But I cannot find time. I'm so busy. But even when you talk about interpreting, actually, I really enjoy interpreting. That's why everybody say, why you have the expression? I also don't understand. I don't understand because I know I understood the whole thing. It comes out naturally. If you ask me to tone down, I cannot tone down. You know why? Because with the moment you understood the whole sentence, you come out naturally in your side. It comes out.
Right.
Actually, take us through the experience of signing during a speech or a news program. Are you given the script in advance?
News.
Or do you get time to prepare, or do you just sign along as they broadcast?
I am a bit lazy because after so many years. Of course, those days they have all these papers, right? These papers, now those days they now all computerized or digitalized. Those days they will give you about 15 minutes before the news how to read. We are not reading, we are reading. We don't have to read, but you have to understand the whole thing. It will take you a bit or longer than readers, right? So normally they'll give you 15 minutes before the news. You can't read. You get the news also, or maybe you took 2-3 news only. That's all. So nowadays, with everything, is all being digitized. So it's already in the computer. So you can go and check. You go early, you can go and check. But the thing is, I go to RTM, I have too many bus stop. You know what's the meaning of bus stop or not?
Yeah. Talk to this person, talk to that person.
Yes. Everybody talk. By the time I finish the whole thing, I go to the studio already. But I try to spend some time to do the sports, to check with the sports, because sports is a bit difficult. If a local sport, I'm no problem. If sports like what do you call it, the
Football and all that.
like
EPL.
International football.
International football, and then especially the names and the country, and the name of the team, you really have to know. Sometimes if the pronunciation is not clear, you are lost.
How do you sign Manchester United?
MU.
Oh, right.
So like Malaysia, you have to say what they call it. They have Pahang. They say the Pahang. They have call what name? They call it in football. There's a special name for that.
A team.
The team they call it Gajah.
No. I think
Something to do
Yeah,
Gajah, something like that. So you don't go and sign Gajah there.
so you cannot.
You don't sign Gajah. You just sign Pahang.
Alright.
Football team football Pahang. Enough.
Alright.
Because say Gajah the left. Why tiba-tiba ada Gajah masuk?
Gajah bola.
That's why. And then they say hilang kuning hijau. Kuning hijau is Perak, I think. Kedah.
Kedah, is it?
So you just sign Kedah, go and sign
Kuning hijau, nobody will understand.
The deaf won't hard for them to relate. So if you want them to understand immediately, Kedah so easy. Why got it? Kumpul team hijau kuning or something like that. Team hijau kuning. It's hard for them. It takes a bit of time.
Right.
So if you sign team Kedah, it's so fast, isn't it? Why
Right.
you want to go so difficult? Straight away lah,
MU.
How about during our Prime Minister's speeches?
No, nothing.
No preparation.
Nothing, because normally my boss would call me, Libby, there will be a Prime Minister's speech, get ready for it today at about 2 p.m. So you just go there and sit down there, that's all, waiting, get ready. But normally what I'll do is Prime Minister's speech is very important. It's meant for all the deaf, and the deaf has to understand. I will look at the headline. So let's say they are talking about something like okay, today he's talking about like the other day I was doing the Rukun Negara, the launching of the 50 years of Ulang Tahun Rukun Negara. So I go and check lah. So when it was started and what was the reason it started, because after May 1969, May 13. And then some history. So when you do it, it might comes out. You wouldn't know what's the speech all about, but you're ready to do that. You know a little bit gist here and there. So at least you're ready lah, in case you don't hear it. In case the sound is not clear.
So the Prime Minister doesn't come over to you and say, I'm going to be saying this. He never gets
No, I never get to
He
see
doesn't get you don't get the script as well.
I don't get the script as well. Even like the PC also no script. Even KKMM kan. Not KKM. Dato' Tan Sri Nur Hisham kan.
Yeah.
Nothing. You just sit down there and do it. But his is quite easy until the part where there's the interview. There's the press when they start asking him questions, but he relates. Like me, I will go and check. Earlier stage, I went and check what is antigen. I know what is antigen, what is PC, RTK antigen, RTK antibody. So you got to know how they do it, how to do the test. So you must know, this one is using the nose. You have to sign nose and then test.
Alright.
So like that.
Also, the nose swab is, you don't spell NOSESWAB.
No, just sign. Say
Right.
like that and then test. That's all.
Okay.
You don't go inside a nose, because deaf people doesn't like spelling.
Okay.
And it's hard for them to catch the spelling sometimes. And because we are also trying to catch the speech of the person, the speech of the person who is we are interpreting. So we might also go very fast with the spelling.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So
It's too fast.
and also the deaf doesn't like it.
It's like us reading the bottom scroller. Like sometimes it's too fast, you can't read everything.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
that's true.
I see, okay.
Now you went viral because our Prime Minister has been giving lots and lots of speeches over the MCO period and all that. So you were working throughout the MCO
Oh
period.
yeah, actually on the second, MCO started on the 18th of March, where I'm supposed to go to Miri for a court case. So everything has been cancelled. My plane ticket, everything all burned now.
Right.
So that 18 on the 22nd, on the 20th, my boss called me. 21st, my boss called me, arrange interpreter for the MCO. So, and then I say, okay, since it's so important, I put the senior interpreter. That's me and my friend. Because it's so important, at that moment, you see,
Yeah.
I cannot put the new interpreter. Not that because they're not good, because I want somebody who is better than the new one. Lah. So I and my friend was doing it. Lah. That's all. At the beginning of it.
Do you get recognized when you go out nowadays?
I cover my face. I use my mask, so not really lah. But what I like the most is the people, they use my picture in when it was viral. They put in WhatsApp group, they put their name. They normally you have your picture, right? WhatsApp. So it's my picture there. Everybody was, how come you are using? Because I admire her. They use me, and then they really admire what I am. So okay lah. But I recognize, of course, when I take out, people will start asking. My neighbor was so cute. All this while, I never tell them I'm an interpreter in TV because I quietly, I don't tell everybody.
Right.
So one day he has been waiting at the gate for me, so I can see that he's waiting to ask me. So I've been every day after my job, I'll bring my dog for a walk. So one day he came and asked me, "Are you the one in TV doing the hand sign like that?" I say, "Look like me or not?" "Does it look like me?" He say, "But your hair is different. Your color is different. Your hair is colored, but in TV it's black. But it looks a little bit like you." Say, "Do you think it's me or not?" Then I asked him, "Do you think it's me or not?" He said, I'm not sure. I'm asking you." Then I smile at him and walk off.
Superstar, ma.
Yeah. But of course, I go to court. There's one thing very interesting is I go to court. Everybody start taking photograph of me.
Oh,
Sometimes
wow.
the court interpreter, "I was praying that you are the one who come for the case today. I'm so lucky. I want to take photograph with you."
You're a celebrity lah.
And the best thing is after my job, normally after interpreting in court, I'll go back. So they say, "Can you ask the jury officer to wait?" Jury officer to wait? Why? Alamak, why the judge want to see me? After that, they actually want to say something to me and then to take some photographs. So
Right,
okay
right.
lah.
What do you
like
think
that.
makes you different though, Libby, with among all the other interpreters that we have here in Malaysia?
Yeah, I think it's because of the way I interpret. I actually have you see the way I sit down also, I cannot sit still, right? I'm moving all the time. My hand also is moving. So I think I would say that it's because of my expression. And I also do not know how I do it. But sometimes I go to, I say not bad, I can do it. Normally I check my I'm doing a good job. Oh, good.
Do you practice at home?
Yes, my brain. Every morning when I'm listening to the talk and interview, my brain is working. I don't sign lah. I'll be working, but my brain is interpreting. Like this morning when I was driving BFM, they were interviewing somebody from overseas regarding the COVID-19 economy. Actually, my brain is interpreting. So that's the most important thing. That it works on my brain. That's why I said to you, it takes me 3 months to learn. It was actually practicing here before I was ready to come out with my hand. When my hand come out, my signing is actually very nice. I look at myself. You see, I was a rubber tapper because we are from Kampong, and at the age of 5, my mother brought me to the plantation. Nobody to take care of me. Even when I was born, also, I was given away. My grandmother brought it back.
All right. Oh my goodness.
My mother said, "Too many daughters, everybody laughing." Relative will laugh at you. We have 9 sisters, 2 brothers, And all the relatives, Chinese, they want boy, ma. So they say, "Ayo, so many daughters." So my mother said, "If this is the girl I want to give away, promise somebody, gave away." My mother go and give away. My grandmother go and pull it back. So I was the one. So, and then, when I was young, nobody take care of me. My mother wrapped me in the lamping and put me on the pondok there. She went and tap rubber. I would be there sleeping until she finished everything. She comes back. So at the age of already 4 or 5, I followed her to rubber plantation until I finished on Form 5. I know how to tap rubber. That's why my hand is a bit rough compared to anyone. That's why I always say, even though it's rough, but I look at myself in TV, it looks nice. The movement goes so smooth. I'm not trying to angkat baku sendiri lah, not to say that I'm good. But I did look at myself. So every time when I finish my job, maybe I go back home. I don't have a TV at home. I don't have a TV at home.
Okay.
So I buy a laptop and just check and
So you assess yourself
Yeah,
every time
assess
as
myself.
well.
So
Okay.
sometimes I feel I'm not doing a good job, but when I look at myself, I'm doing a good job lah.
Right. Always good to check.
yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Like you guys, sometimes you feel you're not doing.
We
Yeah.
listen back to our.
You see, you feel you're not good, but when you listen back, hey, it was not bad.
Yeah, we do. Now, what drives you to keep doing what you're doing, Libby?
Yeah, actually, the thing is, you see, that's why I say the education for the deaf. When I was a teacher, actually, at that time, interpreting wasn't important at that time. It's only part of the job where we do it free of charge. Not paid, at that time. So at that time, because the education for the deaf was so bad, actually, you cannot find any deaf who's highly educated at that time, So if I come in with the objective that I want to learn the language. Of course, I can't help my sister because of the age gap. Every time when I'm teaching her, she'll cry. She cries, I don't want you beat me. You beat me, I cannot beat her.
Wow. So you're a very strict.
Yeah, I am.
You're a very strict sister.
Yeah, I am. So I sometimes beat her. She's so scared, She. So I say, she said, I don't like learning. I don't like learning. So I say to myself, if I cannot teach my sister, I would like to impart the knowledge to the rest of the deaf. Of course, today, even our class is not many. In the class, we have about 5 or 6 students. Deaf, not many, About the most you have is about 9 students. So even I have a few who has gone to America, and then a few they are doing quite well. They are working. They are doing very well.
Eventually, did your sister take to signing? Your sister?
My sister, actually, she's very good in signing. She's very intelligent. I think because as when you're young, you don't learn anything.
Yeah.
So when you grow old, it's a bit difficult. So it's a bit difficult. She can write, but I think she's very artistic. She's at home, she loves Barbie doll. So I used to buy her many Barbie dolls, Until today when she's free, she's making all those dresses she's making herself, beautiful Barbie, dolls, the dress and all this and that. And she likes drawing. She do a lot of drawings at home, and then that's what she do. She do a lot of sewing also at home.
Is she very proud of you for picking up the language, firstly just to communicate with her, but now you're such a successful sign language
I told her
interpreter?
that orang peka is biasa ni lah. To them, they peka is peka lah, because they are not been taught when they are young. Like us, when we are young, our parents would say, remember auntie tu kita selalu tolong kita kan, that auntie always help her. You have to be grateful, when you grow up, you must take care of her, We are being taught, that way by our parents, But deaf, even the parents can't sign, they can't teach them anything. So they grow up like this. So of course, if they are being taught, even in school, the teacher will teach them. So like my sister is but normally I will tell her when I will go and see her, I will communicate with her every day lah. Nowadays you got video call.
Yeah.
Now the other day her phone was prepaid. Her phone was prepaid, and then the line was not paid. So she prepaid. She was cursing her husband. Husband also is deaf. So I went and see her. She was crying. She said, I cannot communicate my friend. My friend all over. I cannot communicate. She has so many phone calls until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
The son told me, I don't know who she's talking. Mommy is talking to who until 2 a.m. I said, leave her alone now. She's deaf. So that day I went to her house. She was so happy. She said, I'm married to my husband how many years? Kosong sorry, You know what's the meaning of kosong sorry? Never say sorry to me.
Yeah.
He make me see also kosong sorry. So many years, I say, but at least your husband don't look for another woman. He said, yeah lah. And then the other day, every time I brought her out, I'll buy things for her. Anything I'll buy for her because of her, this is what I have, So and then the other day I buy something for her. I told her, she said I pay. I have money because I have money. I said no, it's okay. I pay for you. I said because you're born deaf. I said because you're born deaf, You're born deaf, I learn sign language. I say, if contoh, I contoh, we deaf got to give a lot of contoh. Contoh, you born normal. I don't learn sign language. Today I nobody. Because you born deaf, I learn sign language, I communicate, I jadi juru bahasa. So I'm famous. I famous. Why I famous? Because you I learn sign language, right? Oh, yeah.
So what would you say to Malaysians like of hearing? Why should they learn sign language?
Sign language is very unique. You can talk from here. Even now, I can talk to somebody outside the room here. I can sign. You don't even have to shout. You don't even have to go there. It's a language where you can communicate.
Universally.
No. Every country got their own language.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Okay.
every country, Malaysia got our own language. Of course, in the beginning, we have American Sign Language. Actually, at the beginning, here the Malaysians deaf, they have their own sign language. They make colloquial sign language. So eventually, Mr. Tanya brought in from America. We use American Sign Language. So after quite some time, the deaf come up. They say we want to invent our own language. Of course, our Malaysian Sign Language now we call it Malaysian MSL, or in Malay is Bahasa Isyarat Malaysia. Actually, it's more than 50% is actually from America.
All right. Okay.
Another about 40% is local here. So it's still the base is still the asas is still American Sign Language.
So it's good for people to learn how to sign.
It's good to learn. It's actually extra language, and you're moving your hand all the time. And also
Exercise.
you're expressing. Of course, you have the expression. As if you learn yan, of course you're tak tahu malu lah kan. If when you're young you learn, and then you're quite brave. You're youngsters, right? When you're old, after 30, you start looking around. Your expression malu sikit kan. So when you're young, you pick up faster. Your hands are very soft and then easier lah. So when you're old, it's a bit difficult. But I would advise everybody out there to learn sign language if you got a chance to learn.
I think Malaysians would learn sign language easily because I can see a lot of hand gestures when they're driving.
Yeah.
Right? So, signing
Gesture.
like that.
Yeah, of course.
That's not,
These are the signing that the deaf is using, you
Yeah.
know. This is actually universal sign language.
yeah.
But
Actually,
where can one go to learn sign language
Actually-
if they are off hearing?
they are normal, right?
Uh-uh.
So they can actually one of the class is conducted by my friend is sign 2. Sign 2, I think sign something sign. You can go to the website and check. It's free of charge. You can
free of
actually learn.
charge?
Yes,
Wow.
it's conducted. Or you want to pay, you can go to some of the deaf organizations where you have to pay money lah.
You don't teach. Teach us.
There you go, she said.
God, right? Yeah.
1 hour, 200 ringgit.
No, that
Yeah.
is school students.
Ah, right,
I
right,
don't
right.
teach sign language, but when I'm teaching, it's all free lah.
All right.
But my teaching is such that I don't use any voice.
Okay.
I don't use any voice. I do a lot of action. And if you start listening, you're not watching. You at the end of the day, you forget. So you're concentrating with your whole eyes. 1 hour concentrating using your eyes. You can imagine how the deaf is feel throughout their whole life without any voice. So you got to watch me all the time lah. I'm actually a silent teacher. I just sign and teach. I do a lot of movement.
That
And-
is brilliant.
Now, have your experience in sign language interpretation taught you to better understand people who are deaf or people who have disabilities?
Yeah, of course, you have to understand them very well before you are an interpreter to be able to do a good job. That's what when everybody was asking me, even my boss came and asked me, Libby, you're glamour now. I say, you must be very happy because you're so famous now. I say, first of all, I would like to thank RTM for giving me an opportunity 25 years ago. So I say, this is a platform that, that you're giving me an opportunity to interpret for the deaf in Malaysia, and also one of the first country in Asia, Malaysia. So I say, if you ask me whether I'm happy, I can tell you no, I'm not happy, because every time when I sat on this chair, I have to make sure the deaf understand me.
Right.
It's not easy. It's not an easy job. So I got to make sure the deaf understand me. I don't want them to look at me. They say, "What is she doing there? I don't understand." So I want to make sure that they understand me, and it's a very heavy burden. It's not easy. So whether I'm happy or not, I do not know. It's a job. I'm doing it.
Do you get feedback from the deaf?
Yeah, of course. They say your interpreting is very clear. We understand very well. A lot. So far I don't see there's any complaint from the deaf.
So you should be happy with that.
Yes, of course I'm happy, because when the deaf tell me I'm happy, but the normal tell me I'm not happy. Because you don't understand you. But the normal told me that these normal people say that, you see, when I off the radio, I off the TV, the sound. But when I off the sound, but I could see actually I can understand you. Because with your expression, with your signing, because my signing is very clear. Sometimes I actually have my own creativity. I invent my own sign where the deaf can actually understand. You see, we want to stop the virus, So we are fighting against the virus, I won't sign we are fighting, fighting the virus. No, I will sign virus. You have to use you fighting.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's very clear. The deaf look. So you
Very
have
visual.
you as an interpreter, you got to use your own creativity. You don't
Right.
follow blindly. Of course, there are signs there. You follow where you need to follow. But when you have certain things that you have to use your own creativity to make it simple for the deaf to understand.